Hi everyone, it's Jennifer Biedermann from Jennifer Biedermann Jewelry and Biedermann Art Studio. Welcome back to another tutorial. Today I'm going to be doing a wire wrapping tutorial. The last few videos that I posted were some music in the background, and I speeded up the video a little bit just so that the video isn't so long. And I had very great reviews and you all like the videos, but I did get a few comments that people say, how come you don't talk anymore? Well, because I have a busy household. Right now I'm alone in my house, but I tend to chatter a lot and I tend to over talk, and it makes my videos really long. And my dog is eating in the background, or he's talking to his foot, or having conversation with his tail, and it's distracting. So I thought maybe I would just do a music background videos. But what I will do with this one, just to see how it works out, is I will be talking throughout this whole tutorial live. Okay, there won't even be a voiceover. See, I'm chattering. I'm talking a lot here, guys. Okay, so what you see in front of me is two cabs. These I made out of my polymer clay and I painted them. This one I didn't paint, it's polymer clay, different colors. I'm just trying to decide which one I'm going to use because I kind of have an idea in my head. And I don't think I'm going to use this one. I think I'll use this one. I don't know what I'm making. I'm going with the flow. Okay, this is a cab I made. It's no holes, so nothing to anchor to, but I'm going to show you how to anchor this. And I'm going to be using a base. I'm using a 14 gauge piece of copper wire, dead soft. It's about 6.5 inches long. You don't have to use a base, but I just have an idea of what I want to do with this. The weaving part, I have no clue what I'm going to do. So what I'll do is I'm going to show you tips along the way, lots of tips, and how to add wire, and how to control your base wires, and just get the feel and the flow of the wire for you beginners out there who, you know, are making simple pieces, which is fine because that's where I started. I started making pieces and I just progressed from there. And yeah, so I'm going to just show you how to just go with the flow of the wire and go where you feel the wire should go. Okay, so that's it. Materials are basically 22 gauge dead soft copper wires, what I'm using, and I'm going to use 28 gauge wire weaving wire, sorry. Cutters, pliers. I brought out my little bail makers. I may need those. I brought out my flat nose pliers and some round nose pliers. I may not use all of them, but I'm definitely use my cutters and my chain nose pliers for sure. That's it. And get your materials together. We're going to get started. See you soon. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this base wire, this 14 gauge, and I'm going to take my pliers. I'm going to go right about in the middle. Right about in the middle. And I'm just going to do a bend like that. Completely not in the middle, but okay. And I'm going to want it to sit like this. So I'm just going to round the ends. Just until it can... It's not going to be underneath, it's just going to be on the side. And what I'm going to do, so I'm just going to leave it like that for now because, no, hold on a second. Now, just so you know how I design things and how I start weaving, because I get these questions a lot. How do you come up with your designs? Do you draw pictures first? Do you do anything like that? No. Every piece I do, I have kind of an idea, but it never kind of turns out exactly. And I just wing it. Every piece, I wing it. Even when I'm doing tutorials, I wing it. Because I just do what the wires tell me to do and how they're progressing. So basically, we're going to do this, shaping it. So I kind of want it to sit like this, okay? And then up here, I'm just going to take this and bend it upwards. Take this one and bend it upwards. We'll see how that works. Sorry, on camera. Bend it upwards, just like that. See, now, it's not in the middle, so I may even just cut another piece and redo it. But you get the gist of it. I want it to be like this. So I'm just going to actually fix this up a little bit because I am working behind the camera. I need this closer to my face to shape everything because I just want it like this. Okay? Need to fix this. I'll be right back. Okay, so I played with it a bit. I didn't cut myself a new piece. I just bent it back into shape with my pliers, and I played with it so that it just sits like this. Just like that. And I'm leaving this here because I think I might want to dangle something. Maybe. Now, I'm contemplating whether I should hammer this end or not. And I think I just might hammer it. It's just going to give it a finished look. And that's another material thing you're going to need is your hammer block and a sandbag. Sorry for the glare on top, but I need some light. I'm not going to hammer the whole piece. I'm just going to hammer the end and just basically do that. And I'll turn it. And it's going to put it out of shape a bit, but sorry for the noise. I think it's just going to give it a nice finished look, actually. Yeah, just like that. See what it did? It completely put everything out of shape. So, need to recheck. Pop that in. I'm not too worried about the sides being exactly okay, because I'm going to be putting a wire wrap around this. Okay, so now I'm just going to see how many wires I'm going to cut to start, and I'll be back. I'm just going to keep playing with this a bit. I'll be back. Okay, so I'm back. Now, to start, what I did was I cut 6 22 gauge base wires, about 45 to 50 centimeters long. Am I going to need all that? Probably not, but I'd rather have more than not enough. It's copper. It's not that expensive. It's not like it's sterling silver. Now, weaving wire. I just cut myself like about 5 feet. Okay, just something. I'm not gonna cut the whole project, like what I'm gonna need for the whole project. I'm gonna add as I go. So here we go. We want the weave to sit right in the middle. This is a long pieces of 22 gauge. Okay. Now, first off, this is a tip. First off, let me just put my weaving wire aside. I do this with my wires to start, okay? Because the more you play with it, the more it gets work hardened, okay? You don't want it too hard, but That's what I do. I'm not going to start right here and then have all these wires and then be struggling to get it there. So here's another tip. You're going to start right here. And you're going to shimmy your weave down when you're ready. Essential tip. Believe me, I get the questions a lot. How do you manage your wires? And you know what? If you had to just start in the middle, I think a lot of people would quit this art. But here we go. I've got my 6 wires. I'm just going to separate them. And I always start with the same weave. Sometimes I change it up a bit, but I really like this base weave to start. So I'm just separating them to create a channel. Now, I don't know what this weave is called. I believe, and I don't know what, but don't bet on it. It might not be called this. I think it's a sumac weave, but I'm not sure. So let me move in here. You're going to take your weaving wire. Leave yourself a little bit of a tail. You're going to go, now we have 6 wires. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is going to be wire 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So you're putting your weaving wire between wires 1 and 2. Push it down just to hold on to it. See how great that is? You can totally manage your wires like this. Now you're going to go over your wire 1 once or twice just to anchor it. I'm just going over once. And now we're going to go over wire 1 and 2. Careful of your tension. Okay, so you're going over wire 1 and 2, then you're going between wire 1 and 2. You're going over wire 2 and 3. Hold on to your tail to start. Go over wire, let me just see if I did this properly. Yep. Wire 2 and 3. And that keeps getting away from me. You're going to go between wires 2 and 3. Compress. Go over wire 3 and 4. Between wire 3 and 4. Over wire 4 and 5. Between wire 4 and 5. Over wire 5 and 6. Between wires 4 and 5. Yes, that's not a mistake. Going between these 2 wires. Compress. Now we're doing a single coil. Over wire 5. Back down the back. Between wire 3 and 4. Over wire 4. Between wire 3 and 2. Over wire 3. Between wires 1 and 2. Over wire 2. Now, that completes 1. We start it again. Always adjust your wires. See, look, we can manage them. Now, you're going to go over wire 1 and 2 only. Between wire 1 and 2. Over wire 2 and 3. Between wire 2 and 3. Over wire 3 and 4. Between wire 3 and 4. Over wire 4 and 5. Between wire 4 and 5. Over wire 5 and 6. Between wire 4 and 5. And you're just going to continue that. Now, once you get the rhythm, this is going to go quite quickly. So see, I go, as I'm around the back, because now it's like I start the weave from the back, I'm doing a single coil. When I'm going through the front, I'm doing a 2-wire coil. I wish I knew the name of this weave, but anyway. Start again, over wire 1 and 2. That's your mantra. Just keep doing that. Between wire 1 and 2, over wire 2 and 3. Between wire 2 and 3, over wire 3 and 4. Between wire 3 and 4, over wire 4 and 5. Between wire 4 and 5, over wire 5 and 6. Coming down the back now, between wire 4 and 5, over wire 5, over wire 4, over wire 3, over wire 2, over wire 1 and 2, and you continue. Oops. Now, as I work, okay, I'm right at the top here, have a big long piece. I want this weave to be in the middle, okay? So as I work and it's getting shorter, I'm just going to move my weave down. Okay? And then you're going to continue and then move your weave down. Now, just always adjust your wires, making sure they're not big wide spaces because you want them very close over here, but you want a channel over here. So just make sure they're nice and compressed here because otherwise it's going to go whoo, like that, and that's what you don't want. Always compress your weave as you work. And that's what it's going to look like. So I'm going to do a length. I'm not sure the length yet because what I'm going to do is it's going to run down the side here and go up here. Make sure your weave is in the middle of your wires once you've completed. Okay? That's it. Let me work on this and I'll be back. Okay, so I have completed my length and I just want to show you the bottom part. It's not quite in the middle, it's a little bit to the left because this is what we're doing. Now, see, I started doing this and I'm going to show you what I did. What you're going to do with your weave, you're just going to place your focal piece there and then you want your weave to sit like this. Not all the way to the bottom because I want that to be exposed, and right there. Okay? Now, before I attach that to my piece, I wanted to figure out a way so I'm not struggling getting this anchored in and not falling out. So I took a piece of a 22 gauge wire, probably about the length of the original wires that I cut here. And what I did was I just coiled around 3 times, and before attaching it on this side, I put my focal piece in because I want this to sit right at the side, and just to make sure it's setting. Then I'm just going to make sure my wires aren't, you know what I mean? So it's kind of going down a bit over the focal piece, and then I'm just going to bend it like that. I will take this out, and now I'm going to coil over here. Now it's a little fiddly, but okay, there's my bend, and I'm just going to put my wires through. I hope this works. Twice, and then I guess 3 times. bring it down again through. Okay, now before I continue, I'm going to put my focal piece back in. Still making sure that it's sitting where it's supposed to sit. And then with the wire here, just going to go around the back. I'm going to come over here and do it here, and then do it on this side. So this is what happens when you have a focal piece without a hole. Okay, now I'm just going to bend it because I want it to have some slack in the back. And then actually I'm going to leave my piece in there. And I'm just going to come through. Just make sure your wire doesn't get kinked and just guide it through. Okay, I'm going to do that, put my piece in there, and then take it out and do the wrap and come over to the other side. Okay, so just a second here. And the other side should look like this. Okay. Oops, off camera, sorry. Okay, now you put it through the piece. So at least in the back, it's going to look somewhat okay, you know, because you want the back to be pretty too. You don't want it to look like a jumbled mess by attaching your weaves around the back. So you're going to place that in there, and then you're going to do the same thing on this side. Okay, so do that, and then we're going to come back and we're going to start adding this piece to this piece. I'll be back. Okay, so I completed my base, and what I did was I just took my pliers and I, you know, just squeezed everything nice and Nancy neat, and I cut the end there. Now, when I put my piece in here, and I know I showed you in the previous little bit there that we wanted the weave to sit from here to there and stop there. No, what I decided to do was I went all the way around, and I made sure that I shimmied my weave down right to the middle of the wires, so it'll be like the same length. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just place this on top like this. And what you're going to do is crisscross the inner base wires. Okay, now this is going to be really fiddly, but once we anchor everything, it'll be fine. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to hold it the best I can. I'm just going to move these up a bit. So you want to do a crisscross like this. Actually, you know what? I'm not going around the base. Never mind. Too fiddly. So I'm going to do this, and then I'm just going to bend them around the back. Both around the back. So now it's sitting right like this. Now I'm going to fiddle with this just to make sure that this crisscross is sitting right in the middle, like that. And then when I turn it around, it's crisscrossing the back. And I'm just going to do that. And turn it to the front. Always making sure that this crisscross is right in the middle. Just like that. Sorry about that. Okay. And then turn it again. We're going to place let me move out a bit because it's taking a lot of room here. Just a second. No, not in, Jennifer, out. Okay. Now what you want to do is we're going to anchor this into, so it's this stone's stone. It's not a stone, it's a clay focal piece. And you're going to take your wire and bring it to the front. I'm just going to continuously hold it, okay, because I don't want these wires to move. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. So let me just do this carefully. Oops, completely hit my camera. Okay, let me just turn it around, and I'm just going to okay. These things are going to happen, but just be patient, because I want them to sit on top like this. Okay. Now, before I continue, continuously hold it. Move these wires. Make sure this is centered. I don't want to see any kinks in that cross. And then what we're going to do is take these wires here that are sticking out the front there. And whoops, I got a new stand and now I'm hitting it. Okay, so, and then you're just going to bend that up like that. Bend that up like that. Let's turn it around. Checking. So bent it up. And now it's secure in this piece, okay? That's all I wanted to do, and I wanted something that looks nice in the front, and I'm gonna fiddle with that. Make sure that it's staying. Turn. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna bend it. I'm not gonna cut them yet because I'm not really, no, I'm not gonna cut these yet. I need to figure out a way to anchor that on here. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Turn. Put it on the base. Aha, there we go. Now. Perfect. That's exactly what I want. Turn. And I'm going to take the wire and just anchor it on my base. So actually I can just do this. No, wait a second. Put it through the base like this. Now you have to be really careful not to kink your wire, okay? So you're going to put it through the base like that. And then, now I am going to go off camera to fiddle with this because otherwise you're going to be, what the hell? Okay, turn it again. I'll probably go around again. I'm going to just turn and make sure everything's sitting the way I want. Perfect. So I will go through that loop again, and then I'm going to snip off the excess, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Okay, so I'll be right back to do this off camera. Okay, everything's anchored, everything's centered, everything's great. So now we're going to start our weave on the front. So we have 5 wires here, we have 5 wires here. We're not going to worry about these right now. We're not going to worry about these 3. We're going to be working on these 2. So I'm going to start a weave because I want to turn this way. So I'm going to coil around this wire here, single coil. Now I have my long wire, so I have to deal with these long wires, but you're going to go coil around 3 times. So 1, and I'm going to try not to hit my camera stand as I'm doing this. I think I might just go to my old one. It was fixed. Okay, so you are going around 3 times like that. You will go around the 2 wires 3 times, and you're going to do that for until you have enough just to turn it. So 1, 2. Don't coil too tight. We are in a little spot where we need to really shimmy that down and compress our weave. And if you do it too tight, you won't be able to. So just do it loose, well, loose, but not too tight. Just let it sit on the wire. So 3 times, then you're going to go between those 2 wires. Compress. So you have a nice compression there to start, and you're just going to continue that, and I would say right to about here. And I'll be back to show you what to do next. Okay, so I did a length here, as you can see. And how to count how many you did, because we're going to do the mirror image on this side, is just count the top ones here. You know, the 3, we coil around twice. Sorry, around the 2 base wires. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm always end with a single coil. Okay. Now, when I look at my wires here, it's the way it's going. It's telling me it wants to go this way, but we don't want it to go that way. We're going to turn it into a nice tight little curl. Okay, so just manipulate your wires by going like this, and you're just going to turn it into a little curl like that. Now, see how my wires are sitting? We don't want them to sit like that. So as we go, we adjust. So I'm just going to squeeze with my pliers, careful not to mar the wire, just like that. Hopefully you can see that. I will do other adjusting after, but now, again, we're not using these 2 wires. We're going to use the next one, and we're just going to turn that into that curl the same way. So it just sits right in there. And I like to do this because I like to see that bare wire. After I do a liquid of sulfur to age this, that base wire sitting there really stands out. And also, I find it just looks prettier. Okay, now, again, it's fiddly because we're right next to the piece, and it's going to get tight here, but just be patient. It's the process of making it that's fun, right? And again, I'm just adjusting. Okay, forget these wires, push them aside, and you have that. Now I'm going to do a slightly different weave here. Instead of coiling around 3 times, I'm just going to coil around 2. So we're going to be working with these 3 wires. I have my single coil here, and I'm going to come around. I am in a tight spot here, so I really don't want to do this tight. I really just want to push my wire gently so it just sits on the wire, and I'm just going to guide it with my finger like that. So you went around twice. You're going to go through these 2 wires, between these 2 wires, and compress. And because I didn't do too tight, it just slid right down the wires. I hit my camera again. I'm really changing the space. Okay, so you're going to go up and around the top 2 wires twice. Adjusting your wires, and then you're coming around the back and up around the 2 wires twice, and you're just going to you're going to continue this until we reach the top of the piece. So compress. So it's important that your wires are not kinked in any way, because it will change how it looks as you work down. So consistently just pull your wires, make sure there's no kinks, make sure they're close together, but you want a channel here to work. So do a length, and I'm going to do it until I get to here, okay? So I'll be back and I'll show you what to do next. All right, so I did my length and I made sure everything was, like the wires didn't kink at all. So now we have a consistent, nice, tight weave. So now we're here, and what I decided to do was, well, I want to, you know, I don't want it right next to the weave. I just want it to sit like this. Kind of looks like a crown to me. Now I have to decide if I'm going to put it around this way or I'm putting it around this way. So what I'm going to do is put it in between these two base wires here. So before I do that, I'm going to snip off my weaving wire. Now I just ended my weave by putting between those wires, but you don't want to just cut it right there. You want to go around the wire at least once, and you can even go around twice. This will make sure this doesn't come unraveled and everything is secure and tight and secure. It's not going to unravel. So just go ahead and snip that off. And we are going to bring it around the back like this. And you're just going to bend the wires around the back like this. Just like that. Yes, it's going to move. Don't worry. We're going to adjust all that because we're not done the piece. We're far from it. So I would bend this open a bit because we're going to do the mirror image on this side. You want enough room for that weave to go around here. Okay? So leave those wires there for now. We are going to go back to these two wires. And I'm going to do a different weave on this one. Okay? So take your weaving wire. Now always, this is just another tip. Because I'm turning my wires in this way, when I weave, I'm going to do my single coils on the outer wire, and then I'm going to do my wraps around both wires so that when I turn it, I don't know how to explain it. You have less wires on here and it just turns nicer. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to weave around this wire 5 times and this wire, and then both wires 2 times. So just grab your weaving wire. Oh, I hit my hand. This is a joke. I'm sorry. 1. I need to find a solution. 2. And now I'm uncomfortable weaving right now because I'm behind the camera and I have to really be careful not to hit this thing. Okay. I think I did 5 times, but we're right at the base here. So again, don't do it too tight, because then your weave is going to look funny as you progress. And then you just go around twice. Okay, and then you're going to go between the wires. So do you see that? So you're going coil 5, wrap 2, coil 5, wrap 2. You're going to turn it in, but I'll do a bit and then I'll show you how I turn it in, and I will be back. Okay, so I did my length here, and I have more to do, but I just want to take this opportunity for another little tip here on how to add wire. I'm right at the end here. So I just wrapped around twice here. I'm not going to cut it here, obviously, because it'll just come unraveled. Now, here's my opportunity where I'm going to do it. So I'm just going to continue, and I'm just going to, I have 5 coils to do, right? So I'm just going to do 1 and 2. And I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to add my other wire here. And I kind of want them going in the opposite direction. So one's coming this way. I'm going to add my wire here right next to it. And I'm going to coil 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to continue my weave. So you won't even be able to tell where I added it. Now I'm going to just snip off, just a sec, let me compress this. I'm going to snip off this one. I'm not going to snip this one off yet because it's a part of this weave, and if I pull, just whoop, can come right off. So I'm going to go very, very close to there and snip that. I do have a pokey piece sticking out, so you want to really take your pliers and push that in. And that's it. See, if I pull, it's just going to come undone. So I'm just going to leave the tail there just so I can hang on to it. Now, before I continue this weave, I'll show you what I do at this point, because I just want to have a nice length before I turn it in. So I'm just going to gently turn it and put this curl into that one. So just manipulate your wire, and then I'm going to hit my finger here, and I'm going to guide it right into that curl. So I want a nice tight curl sitting right next to it like this. And then you're going to take your pliers again and adjust so the weave is sitting the way you want it. And you're going to push that in. I'm going to continue the weave as I did here, and I'm going to attach it to the top. But again, I'm going to do that with you later. See how this is coming undone a bit? So that's it. And I'm going to adjust once I've anchored it up here again. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Isn't that pretty? I'm excited. Okay, so I will be back once I've reached the top. Okay, I'm back. So I did my length, and as you can tell, you cannot see where I added that wire at all. So I've snipped my weaving wire, and now before you snip it, okay, you really need to make sure that it's sitting where you want it to sit. Now, I don't want it sitting like this. I don't want it sitting like this. I want it sitting right on top. So I'm going to put it through and bend my wires this way. What happened here? Why is that sticking out? Oh, that's why. Okay. So basically it's sitting like this. Now, the wires aren't very anchored properly or anything like that, but what I'm going to do, oh, that's why it's all sticking out. Okay. So you want it to sit like this. Okay. Now, when I start my weave up here, I'm going to turn it, and then it's going to come down this way. Turn it, and it's going to come down that way. So that's going to anchor it. Or what I could do is just take one of the wires and wrap it around that base and bring it back around, which I will probably do. So before I start the weave on this side, I'm going to do the mirror image on this side, okay? So I'm going to just bring it like this, and just so you know, because I know that my brain didn't function, like, I don't know, I couldn't get how to turn it. This was years ago, but we won't redo the weave together because we know how to do that. But let's just separate the wires. Okay, so let's separate all those. I'm having a hard time with this piece, and I know why, because I slashed my finger with a serrated knife last week, but I took the Band-Aid off to let it breathe, but I know it's ghastly looking, but okay, so we're doing the mirror image. So the wires you're going to weave because you want them turning this way, right? So move these two wires out of the way. You are only going to weave, wait a second, you're turning it this way. You're not going to, this is going to be that base wire turning into the curl. Now, because it's turning this way, you want the coils, single coils, to be on this wire, and then the other coils, like when you wrap both wires on this wire. So we start, it's going to be the opposite. So your single coils over here, and then you're going to turn it in, then you're going to turn that one in, and then you're going to do the same thing. You're doing exactly what you did on this side. So I'm going to work on that, and we're going to wrap it up here, and then we're going to start weaving down the front again. Okay, so I'll be back. Okay, so now we have this. We have 5 wires on this side, 5 wires on this side. And what I did do, like I said before, was I took my wire and I wrapped it around again on both weaves. So I just took one wire, wrapped it around, going in this direction, and I took the other one, wrapped it around, and I did on this side as well. Now, I'm really liking how this is progressing. And now we're going to do a new weave on, and again, mirror image on both sides. So let's look at these wires here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not going to be dealing with these wires. I'm going to push those aside. I'm going to be dealing with these 2 wires on top. Now, just so you can understand what's happening, I'm going to be turning this over here and going down that side. So that means, oops, I keep hitting this thing. That means I'm going to take my weaving wire and I'm going to be coiling, I'm going to be dealing with these 2 wires right now. So let's push that one there. So these 2 wires. I'm going to coil around this wire here 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So we have that. Then we're going to coil around both wires 3 times. 1. Now, please pay attention to your tension. This is another tip, because I see, I have a lot of people sending me their projects that they've completed, and, you know, new wire weavers. And new wire weavers, the issue is being very consistent with your weave. And I see a lot of jumble messes, okay? And why? It's because of tension, totally because of tension. So I went around once, I'm going to go around twice. See, they're not sitting next to each other right now, but that's okay. I'm going to go around again. Now, if I left it like that, it'd be a jumbled mess, right? But because I didn't go around too tight, I'm going to go in between the 2 wires, and I'm just going to compress. Now, because I didn't do it too tight, like I said, they slide down the wire. So do that again. 1, I keep hitting this thing. 2, 3, and then get your nails, push it down. If you don't have nails, get yourself some pliers. Nylon pliers, I would suggest. And then 1, I'm just sitting it there. 2, 3. Now, just so you know, it's not sitting exactly the way we want, but as soon as I put this wire in between, I compress. And now we have this. So what we want to do, let's do a little length until about here, and then we're going to turn, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so now we have this, and how many rotations did we do? Let's count. Just like I did before, we count, hold on a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I ended with a single coil. But again, do what you want, okay? So that's just what I did. Now I'm going to turn this like in a clockwise turn. And I'm just going to manipulate it so it sits just like this, and I'm going to take my pliers and make sure it sits like this. Just like that. Okay, now let me just get my weaving wire out of the way. And then you're going to take that second wire or that third wire that's sitting there, and you're going to turn that in there. And I'm telling you, when you age this with a liver of sulfur, it's going to really stand out. And then you're going to turn it like that. And take your pliers and manipulate your wires. It's okay. Just like that. Now let me just get my wires. See, these two we're not working with. We're going to put that down there because I don't want them in my way. And where's my weaving wire? Let me just double check. Hold on a second. Oops. Okay, so I'm here. Ooh, I think I need glasses. Okay, now my weaving wire's here. Let me just double check something. I'll be back. Okay, so I figured out my weaving wire, and it's coming here. Last wire I weaved was this one. Now, this one here I did a 2-2 weave, right? 2 around, 2 wires, 2 around the other one. I don't want to do that again, so what I'm going to do is do 3 times. So I'm going to go around, and again, I'm very close here. It's going to be a tight little area, so I'm just going to lay my wires on top, and I'm just going to push them and manipulate them like that. So go around 3 times. 1, 2, 3, okay, make sure that they're sitting where they need to sit. And then you're coming around the back, you're going to go 1, 2, 3. So 1, and again, I'm really paying attention to the tension, because if I just leave it like this, look, it's going to be a hot mess. So I'm going through these 2 wires, and I'm going to compress. So you have that. Okay, now you're going to continue this weave. Now I'm not sure where I want this to sit, inside or outside, I don't know yet. So just continue the weave around 2 wires 3 times, around the other 2 wires 3 times, and then let's see what happens. Okay, So let's do that, and then we're going to have these other 2 wires to deal with. I'll leave those there for now, and I'll be back. So I did my length here, and I was kind of playing around with it, but I think I wanted to sit on the outside. And now I notice here that it's loose, it's not anchored. So to anchor that in a pretty way, I'm going to take this wire here, I'm going to just set it there, crisscross on this side, and I'm going to bring that wire through here. Really making sure that wire doesn't kink. Okay, and then I'll put it through again. Now, and then I will snip this off. These 2 wires, I'm not sure what I want to do with yet. I don't know if I just want to cut them off or start another weave with them. But I am going to start a weave just to see what happens, and if I don't like it, I'll just cut it off. Okay, so these 2 wires, I will do a just a second here. I'm going to want them to turn in this way again. So 5 coils around the bottom. 3, and then 2 around both wires, and I'll just continue that. Again, just laying them there nice and loose, and then compress. So I'm going to work on that a little bit to see what it looks like, and if I don't like it, I'll just take off the weave and then wrap it around. Simple as that. Okay, so let me do that, and then I'll be right back. All right, so let's see what this does. I did a little length of that weave, and I'm going to see what happens when I just turn that into a counterclockwise curl. Just to see. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I might keep it here. Let me just bend those because I want to see that weave. I'll do it in a little bit tighter curl. And that's what designing is. I mean, if you try it, and if you don't like it, just take it off. But this is wire. It'll be hard if, let's say, if I want to do another type of turn or curl, it's really kinked and out of shape. So I looked at my piece before, so if I didn't want it like that, I'll just take the weave off and then just anchor it here, okay? But I think I'm just going to continue the weave. I think I'm going to continue the weave just to see how it looks once it gets up to the top. Okay, so I'll be back. All right, I did my little curl here. I went all the way down the side. Now, because it's a 2-wire and I don't want it to like flip over when someone's wearing this, I did take my weaving wire and attach the weave to the next weave, if you can see that little wire right there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the 2 wires, because I'm done with this. I'm going to go under this weave right here. And if you find that your piece is too tight, just find another spot to put it under. And what we're going to do is just pull it and make sure the weave is sitting, you know, the way you want, not all kinked. So I'm going to be careful with this. And if it doesn't work under this weave, I'll just put it somewhere else. And right now I see that it's flipping, and I don't want that. So I'm going to take my wire. And I don't want that wave there either, so I'm really going to play with it. And now, all these wires out of the way. This is coming under the weave. I'm going to bring it back. Before I anchor that, I'm going to check again. And in the back, I'm just going to turn it like that. Now, this is how we cut the wires and pinch the wires. So I came around. I'm going to snip both wires right there. Now definitely have pokey pieces here. We don't want that. So what you want to do is just take your pliers, grab those ends, turn it, and then pinch it. Now no more pokey bits. So that's exactly how I want it to sit, just like that. Now, for the next 2 wires here, I'm going to wait for that, okay? Because I think I want to put a bead right in the middle here. So I'm going to repeat this process on this side. Now, again, you're taking your wires, because it's you want to weave on the right wires here, okay? So you have, separate them all out. We've got 5 wires. And you're going to be weaving on the top 3. Now, because you want it to turn like this, you're going to coil your single coils here and coil around both wires, or wrap around both wires. So coil, we did a 3 and 3. So you're going to coil 3 times, go around both wires 3 times, 3 times. Then I think we counted 7 little rotations there. Then you're going to turn it in, okay? So, and then you'll take this wire and turn it in. Exactly like we did on this side. Get these 2 wires out of the way, and I'll see you back when I'm down at the bottom, because we're going to do our crisscross. All right, we're in the home stretch. Now, I didn't, I was actually got preoccupied. I just continued doing my piece. But it's the same thing. You crisscrossed over here, and you attached it here, and I coiled it 3 times, and I cut it. But I do have a PDF tutorial, and I am taking pictures as I go. So if you don't get it, you can get the tutorial step-by-step pictures. So now we have 4 wires left. I am going to coil this wire and this wire. Okay, so let's get this out of the way. And we're just going to coil a single coil. And here's another little tip. You can coil here and go around, but it's really time consuming. So I start at the top here. You know what? Let me move in. So this wire right here, I'm going to start at the top, and I'm just going to start a coil. So, and this again can be time consuming, but you just do a few coils, then just coil, 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 coil. Now, because this is 22 gauge, you really need to be careful not to kink your wire, so you don't want to do coils like this for a long length and then try to compress. You want to do it like this, and then, see what happened? I moved it down a bit, and I'm going to be very careful to compress it. Actually, I'm glad that happened. So you can see to be very careful. And just continue coiling. I'm going to do a bit and then compress. Do a bit. Then compress. So if you do that, it's okay. And then what I'll do is I'll just cut my little tail end here. And the noise you hear in the background, I'm doing laundry. It's very strange you don't hear my puppy dog in the background. He usually is very active and by my feet, which he is by my feet, but he's sleeping. Because I took him for a nice long walk today. Continue, 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 continue. Don't worry. Just keep coiling. Now, at this point, look, I'd probably do a little bit more of a length, but I just want to show you what I'm doing. I'm going to bring it all the way down. And just to show you, like this. And then you're going to bring it right down, because where I want this to sit is right here. Okay? I find there's a little gap there. So I'm going to do my little single coil all the way down here, and then I'm going to tuck it in. So let me work on that. And you know what? I have a big long piece. I'm probably just going to go ahead and snip it, because I'm not going to come back up again. And this point here, I'll probably just coil it like this, but until I get a length. See, kinked. Be careful, just work out the kinks. So I'm going to do this side, and I'll show you how I tuck it in, and then I'm going to do this one exactly the same thing going down the other side. Mirror image on both sides, and I'll be back. Okay, so I did my coil here all the way down the side. I'm just going to let it sit there. Now, this is what we're going to do. You're just going to tuck it behind here. Make sure everything's sitting the way you want. And then we're going to place it under this base wire. I'm just going to hold it here in the front. And you're going to do this. See what I'm doing? I'm just going under that base wire. I'm holding it with my fingers on the other side. Like that. And because I went around once, it's fine. I'm just going to snip it and push that closed. Well, before I push it, I just always take my pliers and turn it and push. Nothing sticking out. There we go. And you're going to do it again with this last wire here. And I would snip off a bit because it's a little bit long. Just like that. So it'll make it easier to coil, and then you're going to do it around this side, and then I'm going to see what I'm going to do with these two at the end. I might snip off one, put one down here, and put a bead. We'll see. But for now, I want you to coil this one as we did before. Do a few coils. Oops. Oh, lordy, lordy. And compress. And continue coiling. And then you're going to do the same thing down this side. And I'll be back. Okay, so now we're really almost done this piece. And I have two wires here. Now, in this wire right here, I want to decide if I'm going to put this bead or the black bead, and I think I'm going to be putting this bead. This is an 8mm round bead. This is a 6mm. So let's just take a look on how it looks. So let's put that bead down that wire, because I do have a lot of green here, so I may want to do that. And I most likely will do that. Actually, I'm not even going to try the black bead. So I'm just going to sit that there, and then I'm just going to go under the weaves. Again, if you don't have any space, find a space. That's what it is. And then you're just going to make sure nothing kinks. I'm going to pull that just like that. I think I'll come around again and then go under these weaves on this side. So pull everything nice and taut. Nice and taut. Like that. With this wire, I'm just going to go around this base wire right over here just to anchor everything. And I'll snip that. Again, just snip it right there. Then you're going to take your pliers. Grab this wire. Turn it with your pliers. I always leave myself a little bit of a tail so I can grab it and turn it and then pinch it. And really, I mean, this last wire I don't really need. That's it. That's the piece. So here, this wire, I'm just going to snip it right off. Again, leaving myself a bit of a tail just so that I can grab it, twist it, and pinch it. So we have our piece here. I'm thinking I may want to dangle something here, but I think it'll be a little bit too much. I think I'm going to leave it like that. Okay, so what do we do with these top things here? What we're going to do is we're going to take it and just turn it like that. Okay. Then we're going to take the other one, just like that. And we're going to turn that one in, like that. And we're just going to pinch those closed. And just adjust that they sit together. It's fine like that. And there you have it. Now I'm just going to come back because I want to show you what type of necklace you can put on this thing. So the tutorial is done, and what I've done was I put a silk cord on this. It's a forest green silk cord because it goes with the focal piece I chose, and it comes in all kinds of colors. And that's the piece. I'm gonna age this with the liver of sulfur, which you're going to see in the intro of this video. And if you want, there is a written tutorial on this piece if you want a step-by-step, picture-by-picture tutorial. So thank you for watching. If you like the video, please share and give me a thumbs up. And I always like to hear your comments. So thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.